but a lot of it has to do with our tax code, which is kind of screwy. On paper, we've got the highest tax, one of the highest tax codes for corporations in the world, on paper. But here's the catch. We have so many loopholes that it turns out you got a whole bunch of companies who are paying no taxes or barely paying taxes, or they keep their money in offshore accounts, and it doesn't get reinvested back here in the United States of America. So this is one of the reasons why I've said that I think it would make sense for us to reform our tax code, simplify it, lower the rate for corporations, but eliminate a bunch of the loopholes so that everybody's paying the same and it's fair. Because what you pay in taxes should not depend on how good your lawyer is or how good your accountant is. If you make a certain amount of money, that's what you should pay. And I think that same principle, by the way, we can apply to individuals as well. So one of the things I'm interested in is looking at tax reform. 90% of you shouldn't even have to probably file a return. The way electronics works these days, you should be able to, with your W-2, it gets plugged in, it's on a computer somewhere, here's your refund, you sign something electronically, it gets done. Most people don't itemize. If you don't itemize, sending in some complicated returns is just a waste of paperwork. And even if you do itemize, most of you probably, it's your mortgage on your house, interest payments on your mortgage and a couple other things. It shouldn't be some 2-week ordeal. And by the way, because sometimes, folks will say, well, you don't have to do your taxes. Look, it's true, I don't do my taxes anymore. I've got other stuff that I've got to do, but it wasn't that long ago when I did do my taxes. I remember. It was terrible. Just like I remember pumping gas. I don't pump gas anymore, but I remember what it was like when you filled it up and turned out you didn't have as much money as you thought. So I think we can actually simplify it, but on manufacturing, tax reform on the corporate side could make a difference. The other thing, though, is in terms of encouraging manufacturing, we've got to understand what our advantage is. See, we'll never compete in terms of low wages. There's always going to be some place that has lower wages than we do. We're a wealthy country. So if a company just wants to, make plastic toys, we're just not going to be able to keep up with that. But when it comes to high-end, high-skilled jobs, those are the kind of manufacturing jobs we have to go after. And that's where research, innovation is so important. That's where on something like clean energy, making sure that there's a market for that clean energy is so important. That's what's going to produce manufacturing jobs, making sure we've got a good smart grid. Those are the kinds of things that are going to make sure that we have the high-end, manufacturing here in our country. And I just want to introduce, there's a guy right here, this guy, I'm going to embarrass him. His name is Ron Bloom. Ron is actually the guy who helped us save the auto industry. He helped to design our program to make sure that GM and Chrysler did not get liquidated and did not go under. And by the way, I don't know if you guys heard, a couple weeks back, GM said it was now going to hire back every single worker that had been laid off. Every single worker that had been laid off. So Ron is now working to develop manufacturing strategies for every industry around the country. And he's doing great work, and I'm sure he's going to be talking to the folks here at GAMESA and others in terms of finding ways that we can increase manufacturing here in the United States all across the country.